నమస్కారం. డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ సార్వత్రిక విశ్వవిద్యాలయ విద్యార్థులకు స్వాగతం. ఈ ప్రసారంలో
Welcome to the video lesson of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University, organized for the benefit of students of mass communication and public relations, postgraduate mass communication public relations students. This is part of your syllabus, the course 3, Communication Research. Today's topic is what is research and process of research methods. My dear students, you must have studied as part of your course. The entire public relations process is based on 4 stages. First stage is research, second one is planning, third one is communication, and fourth one is evaluation. In the process of public relations, research gains lot of importance. Research is nothing but discovery of facts, interpretation of facts, finding out a new thing. That is the research. So, my dear students, you must remember there is a dictum in the process of research: research before, research during, research after. If you are taking up any public relations campaign or any project, the first step is research before. Then while implementing the program, you can also take up research to see how your program is being implemented. Based on the feedback, you can make certain mid-course corrections. That is research during. And research after, this is taken up after implementing your public relations campaign or any project. Research after is based on evaluation that shows us the impact of the campaign, the results of the campaign, and it also tells us how we did the program and what lesson we have learnt from this. So, you kindly remember research before, research during, research after. Finally, I would like to submit to you, recently one survey clearly indicates public relation profession will not be respected unless it submits to measurement of its value. Unless you show results, the public relation profession will not be recognized. So, today we have a distinguished scholar, Professor K. Stevenson, Head Department of Communication Journalism, Usman University, in our studios, who will enlighten on today's topic, what is research, process of research methods. Welcome to you, Professor Stevenson garu. For the benefit of our students, could you explain what is communication research and how does it help in the practice of public relations or even journalism?
Before we get into communication research, we will look at this term research. If you look at, split this word research, you are searching, you are searching for answers, you are seeking answers for certain specific questions. Now, when we start examining communication research, we are looking at the mass communication behavior of people. If you ask me to explain, I think it is looking into the entire communication process, that is research into the source, research into the message, research into the channel, research into the audience, that is the receivers. So, when we extend our research to all these 4 elements in the communication process, I think we will be doing a comprehensive job. Now, journalism research is slightly different from communication research, because journalism as a field, okay, it encompasses so many forms, like you have television journalism, you have radio journalism, you have newspaper journalism, magazine journalism, so on and so forth. So, when we start focusing on each of these areas, then it becomes a journalistic research. Now, coming to public relations, as you have rightly pointed out, I think research gives the base for all public relations activity. As rightly pointed out, you started with research before, that is fact finding. You will have to establish facts, you have to identify
problems.
What are the problems in an organization, how these problems can be solved using a communication strategy. Okay. So, everything is now dependent on the nature of research which you undertake in an organization, and trying to identify what are the problems, raise questions for these problems, and then you seek answers. And in that way, when we start looking at solutions to problems within an organization, we are talking about applied research. We are trying to apply the solutions which emerge, okay, the results which emerge out of research into solving specific problems of the organization.
Now, see, having explained what is research, I think could you tell us the types of research, particularly print media research? There are some people say readership survey, something like that. Can you explain about this?
Yeah, when we look at print media, research into print media, I think very broadly we can classify under the following heads. 1. Readership survey. When we say readership survey, we imply to undertake research on who are our readers, what do they read, who are our non-readers, who are readers who can associate the content which they have read. So, we are broadly looking at readers, their demographic profile, whether they read our newspaper or not, if they do not read, why do not they read, if they read, which sections are they reading, what appeals to them. So, that is readership studies. Then the second category of research in print media is readability studies. Readability studies include those studies where we examine the ease at which a reader is able to understand the text. Say for example, you are reading a particular paper like Deccan Chronicle or the Hindu. Now, the language in Hindu may be different from the language in Deccan Chronicle. So, when we start doing readability research, we are looking at to what extent it is easy for us to understand the text. Now, there are certain specific formulae which have been given to us by scholars. Say for example, we have a Rudolph Flesch formulae, we have a smog index, we have a fog index. So, then we also have a close test. Now, when we start engaging ourselves in analyzing the text and subjecting this text to these tests, okay, in these tests what happens is you are measuring the average sentence length, number of syllables in a sentence, number of words in a sentence, okay, which will give us a particular result, and if that value falls in a particular range, then we say that this text is easy to read or this text is difficult to read. Now, having discussed readership studies and readability studies, the third set of research under print media includes content analysis studies.
That is important.
In content analysis, we start examining the nature of content. If you look at the Laswell formula, where we say source, message, channel and receiver, the focus is on the message. What is the message? What is the content? What is the nature of content? What kind of effects is it having? What is the direction in which the content is moving? Say for example, you take newspapers at a national level, what is the discourse which is taking place? Which direction is the content moving? Okay, what kind of effects does it have on people? Now, this kind of studies include two types, that is both qualitative content analysis and quantitative content analysis.
That I will come later.
That is within content analysis you can do a quantitative study, you can also do a qualitative study to examine bias, to examine the neutrality of a particular paper. So, this kind of studies are done in content analysis. And the fourth category of studies which are undertaken in print media are circulation studies. Circulation studies, okay. We broadly try to examine where, in which segments is the paper being circulated, okay, where is the paper failing, Okay, so you have circulation agents who constantly monitor where the paper is being sold. Okay, who are the agents who are actually selling our paper, maximum number of copies, etc. Now, in addition to this, of late we also see there is a greater amount of research on the graphics used in newspapers. If you look at newspapers history during the recent past, you have newspapers which have been changing the typeface which is used in a particular paper, or they are changing the design and layout. Now, this is to make the paper more reader friendly, to make it more appealing, to make it more aesthetic. So, of late there is this greater emphasis on what kind of graphic elements are being used, what is the kind of layout which is appealing to people. I think very broadly, I think these are the areas under print.
The research, whatever you get the results, will be of great use to the readers on the one side, on the other side to the management, including advertisers also.
Yes.
How are they benefited by this survey?
Say for example, the results of a study, any research, whether it is research on print or electronic or even magazines, I think it gives definite pointers to editors whether the newspaper content is being received properly, are they rejecting. Okay. So, it is a kind of a feedback which the editor gets, so that he can make corrections. Okay, my content is leaning heavily towards the government or leaning heavily towards a particular political party. So, I think my readers are not very happy. If that is the finding, then the editor will definitely make some corrections and say, yeah, I will have to make some adjustments so that my readers are not disappointed. Okay. Similarly, this kind of research helps advertisers. Say for example, we take circulation research. Now, if an advertiser knows that a particular magazine or a newspaper has a maximum circulation, then the advertiser comes forward to advertise in that particular paper, because he would like to see that there is a maximum reach of his advertisement to the population or the target audience. So, in that way editors are benefited, advertisers are benefited, okay, managements also. The moment they start seeing more revenue coming in, then it also helps financially for the management.
Now, see, a new concept, now some newspapers have appointed readers editor.
Readers editor.
Does the editor help in giving feedback, sort of survey or research, anything? What is the role of readers editor?
The readers editor, I think is basically trying to understand what kind of complaints, complaints are being made against a particular newspaper, and he in fact responds to these complaints. Say for example, Hindu, you have a readers editor. Like that, you have so many other newspapers also who have a readers editor, but basically he tries to analyze the feedback of the readers and then give appropriate responses. If there is a mistake, then yes, they admit it. If there is some kind of a clarification to be made, yes, a clarification is issued. So, it is like an arbiter between the reader and the newspaper.
Good, thank you. Now, coming to an important area of research, you see, what are the various methods of research? Suppose our student wants to take up research.
Yeah.
What are the various stages through which one has to proceed?
So, you have asked two questions here. One is
process of research.
Process of research. Okay.
Methods of research.
Okay, process of research and what are the methods of research. First, I will answer the process of research. Now, for any research, the first and foremost thing to be done is to identify a topic, identification of a topic, or in some textbooks it is also referred to as for problem formulation. Okay. So, first identify what is that you want to do, what is the research which you want to do, what is the subject, what is the problem you want to investigate. I think that is first and foremost. The second stage is you will have to do a literature search. In other words, it is review of what research has been done. You have to go back and see what are the various research studies which have been undertaken on that particular subject or related subject, so that you identify gaps in earlier research and then you try to sharpen your own questions. So, your research is emerging from the past research. Okay. So, after review of literature, then you start thinking about the methodology. What is the method which you are going to adopt, where you are going to do the study, if it is for a longer period, how many years you are going to do the study, so on and so forth. Then you try to, after you in methodology, you also discuss about how you are going to collect data, where you are going to collect data, okay, what are the statistical tests you are going to adopt, so on and so forth. And after engaging in all these activities, next you go collect data, come back, you present your data. That is the next stage. You present your data, and from this data you draw broad inferences or conclusions. This is in brief the process of research.
Based on this, you have to prepare a report.
And then you prepare a report, final research report. Okay. Then you talked about what are the methods of research. Methods of research, you have, as I mentioned, content analysis as a major research method. You have survey as a major research method. You have experiments. Okay. Just like in pure sciences, here also we have experiments. Then you have case studies. Okay. You have discourse analysis. You have semantic analysis. Okay. Now, all these methods depend on the nature of question or the nature of problem the researcher intends to examine.
Now, I think collection of data, as we mentioned in the research, plays a very important role. How do you distinguish between qualitative data collection and quantitative data collection?
Yeah. Quantitative data collection is basically trying to gather information, primary information. When I say primary information, information gathered from a large number of people. Okay. You are approaching these people to fill up questionnaires. They fill these questionnaires and they come back. The researcher may employ some field investigators to come back with this data, which is in the form of questionnaires. Okay. These days you are using internet, these days researchers are using websites. So, you are getting data from a large number of individuals. Now, when it comes to qualitative data collection, the moment we talk about qualitative data collection, we are looking at information which is qualitative in nature. Now, as opposed to quantitative research where you are looking at numbers, here you are going beyond numbers. For instance, if you say 70% of people in Hyderabad read a particular paper. Now, when you start probing deeper, when you say why are people reading this particular newspaper, what motivates them to read a particular newspaper, what is that they like in this newspaper, we are examining the qualitative aspect. Now, when we want to generate qualitative data, you have different methods. Say for example, you have focused group discussions. Okay, you assemble a select number of people, and then you as a moderator you start discussing the problem, and as people respond you take down notes, focus group discussions. Then you have in-depth interviews with people. Okay, this is again qualitative. Okay. Now, say for example, you want to just find out are there any solutions for corruption in this country. Now, you have an in-depth discussion with individuals and you generate a lot of data. Okay. But this kind of data is very difficult to come by if you just go through quantitative kind of a study. Now, I think this is how data is collected. Okay. Focus group discussions, in-depth interviews or schedules where you have open-ended questions. Okay. Then you have panel discussions, right? You have case studies. Now, all this where there is an intense examination of the problem, then it leads to qualitative information.
Right. Now, coming to another important area, what is evaluation? And how does it help public relation practitioners in the process of evaluation?
Most often what happens in public relations is the executives undertake campaigns. They may be short term campaigns or long term campaigns. Now, when they undertake campaigns, okay, whether it is to improve the image of the organization or to build reputation or to bring about some kind of behavioral changes among people, I think what happens is during evaluation, one will definitely look at whether the intended objectives of the campaign have been achieved. whether the intended objectives of the campaign have been achieved. Now, I think in your introductory remarks you have pointed out 3 stages: before, during and after. I will put it slightly differently. When you are doing research during a particular campaign, you launch a campaign, let us say for foodboard travel or save water. Now, during the campaign you can conduct some kind of a research which is concurrent evaluation, and you say, okay, this campaign is not working, people are not understanding the message, I think we will have to change the visual or we have to change the slogan or whatever. Now, that mid course correction takes place during concurrent evaluation, and there is this terminal evaluation. Terminal evaluation is at the end of the program, at the end of the campaign, you try to assess, yes, we have started off at this level, now whether we have achieved our intended goals. Okay, what were the objectives, to what extent have we achieved those goals. Okay, it is something like whether the campaign has been effective. Okay, what is the return on the investment? The investment is the message, the time which you have devoted for this particular campaign, and you are now looking at what are the returns. Are people aware? Okay, are they saving water? Okay,
exposure to the media.
Okay, so this kind of evaluation is a must in public relations.
A good example of research could be taken from pulse polio immunization program. This program still is on, but after 17 years of its launching the program, there was a survey, there was a research. That research indicated there are no cases of polio affected people in this country. As a result of this research, I think you see, World Health Organization declared India is a pulse polio free country. That is the impact of research. We can find out so many things through research. Finally, my dear students, you see, your course has 4 blocks. What is research? Process of applied research, sampling and tools of data collection, measurement evaluation. These are the 4 blocks which we have to read in your course book. I hope the points that Professor Stevenson highlighted covers almost all these points. My suggestion to you is, reading is learning. Unless you read, you don't learn. Kindly read the course book and try to learn, gain the confidence to face the examination. With these few words, I thank Professor Stevenson Garu for having come to our studios to enlighten our students on the topic, what is research, process of research methods. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
మా కార్యక్రమాలపై మీ సూచనలు, సలహాలు, అభిప్రాయాలు మాకు తెలియజేయండి. మీ సూచనలు, సలహాలు, అభిప్రాయాలు మాకు తెలియజేయవలసిన చిరునామా: డైరెక్టర్, ఆడియో విజువల్ ప్రొడక్షన్ అండ్ రీసెర్చ్ సెంటర్, డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ యూనివర్సిటీ, ప్రొఫెసర్ జి రామరెడ్డి మార్గ్, రోడ్ నంబర్ 46, జూబ్లీ హిల్స్, హైదరాబాద్ 500033.